Every time a new game comes out, and this new game has a slightly more difficulty level than other games, and well, there's the journalist level difficulty games where they ask Sekiro to be downgraded in the difficulty. Anyways, needless to say, there is this new established Souls-like kind of subgenre, which we know for games like Lords of the Fallen, Bloodborne, even though that Bloodborne is still from Software, Sekiro, Neo, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And one of the pioneers of this new established subgenre of the RPG gaming, it's Lords of the Fallen, of course. A little while after Lords of the Fallen made it into the public, the second entry was announced. You can argue that it was not the best game out there in the world. You can argue that the combat was a little bit more clunkier than that of Dark Souls, and that some of the mechanics weren't as functional. But at the end of the day, it was an enjoyable game. It wasn't the greatest game of all time, but it was an interesting proposal, and it was one of these new pioneers of this newly established Souls-like genre. I think that of course more games would take inspiration after Lords of the Fallen from Dark Souls, but needless to say, Lords of the Fallen took it onto themselves to say, hey, we want to follow into these footsteps, let's make something beautiful about this. We have been wondering what's happened to the second entry since it was actually officially announced just not so long after the first one. The first Lords of the Fallen released back in 2014, in the same year of the second entry of Dark Souls. Lords of the Fallen was developed in partnership of both Deck 13 and the publisher CI Games. Just after the game was launched, like I mentioned before, into the market, CI Games announced that they were working on the Lords of the Fallen 2. However, they were going to do so themselves without the partnership of Deck 13. Yet they were struggling quite a lot because of Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 was also on the scene, and due to the poor reception and the investment on Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, the company had both gamers bad reception and financial struggles. I believe that many of us, me included, were wondering, dude, how the hell did The Surge got 2 games published in a row with not so long, not so much in between time of development. The Surge was published in 2017, my memory serves me well. 2 years after that, we got The Surge 2, which was developed by Deck 13, the company that developed in partnership Lords of the Fallen with CI Games. Deck 13 decided to publish The Surge under the wing of Focus Home Interactive, and while they were working on that stuff, CI Games, while they were working on that, CI Games said, we can actually take this wolf by the horns and develop this thing by ourselves. So they said that, we're going to develop Lords of the Fallen 2 all by ourselves while we take care of Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. Oh boy, oh Jesus, such a bad decision. Needless to say, they took a bigger bite than they could chuck. In 2018, CI Games acquired Defiant Studios to take care of Lords of the Fallen 2. At the time, CI Games CEO Marek Tymiński said, quote, impressed with their game concept, production expertise, and the pedigree of their developers, end of quote. However, just a year after of the studio acquisition, their contract was terminated. CI Games CEO said that they were impressed by the credentials and the track record of Defiant Studios. He said that back in the day. However, most of their games, we're talking about Defiant Studios in here, they were arcade small games, not AAA quality. They were not by any means bad games, but Lords of the Fallen 2 was their very first attempt into a AAA. And this was of course reflected on the product that they were developing. Quote, the quality of the work was lower than expected by the company, end of quote. CI Games said in a press release, quote, as precisely described in the agreement, despite 3 calls to improve the quality of this stage of work, end of quote. So as you can see right here, it's not completely inherently the fault of CI Games that Lords of the Fallen 2 hasn't been published or developed yet. Well, it is. Kind of it is, but it's mostly leans and relies on the circumstances and the change of events following all this stuff. They were not able to develop the game on their own because they have other stuff to take care of. And when they acquire a new studio, the new studio just didn't live up to what the game, to the ambitions and what they were requiring of them. But again, the games that they had under their credentials, I don't know about the developers, but they are not suitable of a game of a AAA quality. Lords of the Fallen 2 was hoped to be. Like I mentioned before, you can argue that Lords of the Fallen is not the best game out there, it's not the greatest game in the world, but it has standards that need to be met because the second entry, of course, had to be a whole bigger and better. So they said, you know what, let's take this thing again into our hands. CI Games founded a brand new studio back in March 2020 by the name of Hexworks. This new studio is said to be focused on the production of RPG games, much like the Lords of the Fallen 2. Furthermore than that, recently they made public that in the CI Games social media, the official logo of Lords of the Fallen 2 that you can see on the screen right now. Along with the logo, CI Games say that Lords of the Fallen 2 is officially their largest project yet to date, and that the upcoming sequel moves the franchise to a dark fantasy and introduces a fully revised and more challenging combat system. Also, a while ago, CI Games raised 5.7 million euros from investors, which will of course help to avoid the precarious situation that the company had back in the day with Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. At some point, I believe that many gamers were concerned about Lords of the Fallen as fans, and I believe that those fans were concerned. I count myself into those numbers. Were concerned about the game being cancelled because it was announced back in 2014, previously mentioned, not so long after that the first game came into the market. And through the years, all that we got was just bad news, dude. Bad news after bad news after bad news about the development progress, this changing of the IP between studios, between hands. There wasn't anything concrete, and there was also a time where CI Games were struggling quite a lot, previously mentioned as well, because of the situation of Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. And as you can see right here, they are saying that Lords of the Fallen 2 is their most ambitious project and biggest project. They officially said that on their social media, but we always have to take this with a grain of salt because it's just promises. We don't have any teaser trailer right now. We don't have like any tangible thing that tells us what this thing will be. I at the very least believe that this is a promising IP. I believe that is promise in this game, that is potential. But I guess we will have to see. Also, it has to be mentioned as well that I don't know how much can they scratch of the assets of the developing progress back in the day. I don't know if they are like starting from scratch, from zero. But the new studio, Hexworks, was founded in March 2020, not so long ago actually. That's really not that, it's not even a year from now. So I think it's going to take a while until we finally see Lords of the Fallen, the second entry of it. Do let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think about these games, about this game. Do you like the very first one? Do you think that you are going to get the second one? Do you think it's going to be good? I'll see you beautiful gamers in the next one. Remember to stay safe and stay beautiful, stay awesome. I'll see you beautiful gamers in the next one. Stay safe, stay awesome. I'll see you later.